If we don't see any damage, there probably isn't any damage, right? Well, that could be the case today, but that might not be the case tomorrow. And this is the perfect example. What you're looking at here is a deck that is enclosed all the way around the perimeter of it. There is no airflow or a limited airflow circulating underneath the decking and the deck framing. Now that could be a problem if any moisture accumulates underneath this deck. Now the first thing I'd like to point out is the louvered vent. That isn't good. They should have installed a screened vent like this one here. Now this is a foundation vent. If you notice, it is unobstructed by any louvers. Now that is a good thing because that means that our airflow underneath the foundation or the deck will be maximized. Whenever you have a louvered vent like this one, you can actually see, I don't have to draw you a picture, how much air isn't going to be circulating underneath this deck. So it isn't a good thing. Now the next problem is, you're going to find this hard to believe, there aren't enough of these foundation vents underneath the deck. Now as a general rule of thumb, I believe it is 1 square foot for every 300 cubic feet of airspace. So that's just a general rule of thumb. You will have to check with your building department, local building department, to verify that. Always verify the information that I'm giving you, because every once in a while you're going to find this hard to believe. I am wrong. And by the way, if you guys ever find out where I am wrong, I'd love to hear from you and remove these videos, any ones that are wrong, or at least comment on them. Now that we've covered that, we need to find out where this moisture is actually coming from if it is going to be a problem. The arrow is pointing to the spaces. They're about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch wide in between every single one of these 2x6s that have been used for the decking. So yes, if it rains, you can imagine the amount of water. Almost all of the water that hits this deck is going to end up underneath the deck. So yes, we can get a lot of moisture, especially in a situation where we don't have enough air circulating underneath it. Now you're probably thinking, and I've heard people mention this before, isn't there going to be some airflow going between the decking? You know, so we have the 2x6 decks with about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch gaps in between them, and we have plenty of gaps here. So shouldn't that provide us with some air circulation? And you're absolutely right, it will. It's just, is it going to provide us with enough ventilation? And really what we're looking for is cross ventilation. We're looking for air going from the right side of the building to the left side of the building, or from the front to the back. And that's usually where we really get some great air circulation. Just relying on the gaps in between the decking isn't going to cut it most of the time. However, it will suffice, it will work every once in a while. So and again, all depends upon the situation. If you're in an area where it rains a lot, you're probably not going to be in good shape. If you're in an area where it doesn't, heck, you're probably going to be in fantastic shape. So if you're building a deck, try to solve this problem when you're designing the deck. And again, more foundation vents, the better. That's always my motto. But again, that all depends upon the climate and where you're located.